What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping back in with a bunch of Destiny 2 Shadowkeep updates, news, and roundups to cover in the video. So we're going to talk about a secret Vex gate, pretty interesting stuff going on with the story right now, and we'll also touch on Eris's weekly quest and how that is going to lead us to the dungeon, the launch of the Xenophage quest, and more. We'll round up hidden badge rewards, some Festival of the Lost stuff, and we're going to talk about Big Boss Cheese, a way to glitch into the Scarlet Fortress in Patrol, PlayStation 5, and a bunch of other stuff in this video. So guys, if you enjoyed this one, a rating down below really helps me out, but otherwise, it's time to get into it. So we've just had another weekly reset inside of Shadowkeep, and there are quite a few pretty interesting things to touch on here. Initially, we've got some story stuff related to Season of Undying. And so we've launched our offensive into the Black Garden, both in the raid, but also in the Vex offensive mode itself. And Akora tipped us off that the cause of all of this is actually the Undying Mind that we fought in D1. And Akora has told us that she's working on a way to get access to the Undying Mind. However, the result of Akora's project is something that we'll see develop over time in the game, and that's why we now see a mysterious construction being put up behind Akora's location in the tower. We know that Akora is building a Vex portal to get us access to Undying Mind, and so it looks like she's actually building it in the tower, which is pretty crazy stuff, and it's something that we're going to see happen week over week until the end of the season. So we have some dialogue here for Festival of the Lost of all things. Akora wishes you a happy Festival of the Lost, and apprises you of her progress on the Vex portal, where construction is proceeding as planned. There's more work to be done before the portal can be put to use. Enjoy the festival, while Akora continues to work on the Vex portal. And there is another dialogue line that references the portal being complete, and us actually heading through to eliminate the Undying Mind in that final assault. So this is a really awesome concept, and we're actually going to see that develop week over week. But it would appear we're seeing a kind of similar thing with Eris's weekly quest. So this week, we have a quest to dispel the nightmare of Veltalo, and each of these quests references one of Eris's fireteam members from that doomed Hellmouth raid. On top of this, every time we complete one, we'll see one of the nightmares around Eris actually disappear. But considering we've done 2 of these, it looks like we're going to have 1 per week up until the launch of both the dungeon and the Xenophage quest. And so some folks now think the Xenophage could ultimately kick off via these bounties. But what we do know is that Xenophage is rewarded directly from Eris, so it seems entirely possible, but it looks like first we'll have to complete the Memory of Ariana 3, Omar Agar, and Toland the Shattered. And there's a really cool cinematic section here from when we released the Nightmare of Veltalo, so check this out.
No. Well, not again.
Eris, we found Veltarlo's mark.
I can't believe it. Vel. He forged a link for every life he rescued. One of these is for me. Thank you for bringing this back.
Now though, let's talk about some content stuff. So we did get a new Nightmare Hunt difficulty this week, and that's the hero difficulty. They do come with some new modifiers, and of course they award powerful gear, but on top of this there is essentially some Nightmare specific loot. For example, this week we have the Essence of Rage, and that comes from the Rage Nightmare Hunt, and this grants the shotgun from the Lunar set. And then also, there will be the Essence of Servitude, and this rewards the fusion rifle from the set, and that's one we're going to see on a different week where we have to defeat Zydron, the Gate Lord, so that should be pretty cool. And so these essences specifically drop in those Nightmare Hunts, but via the weekly powerful reward, the Lunar Engram and things like that, it is possible to get these weapons dropped early. So I had the shotgun last week, and it's just because I got lucky from my weekly powerful reward. Otherwise, certain essences will come in the Nightmare Hunts that we see week over week. On top of this, as you play through these higher difficulty Nightmare Hunts, generally you'll see more mods drop in, and they can also drop enhanced mods, so that's pretty cool as well. This week on the Moon, the Trove Guardian has actually moved to location, so the Moon does have a couple of cyclical updates, and now you'll find Trove Guardian in Hellmouth. He spawns very near to the old entrance of the Crota's End raid, and then the platforms to the chest actually take you over Hellmouth, which is pretty neat, so just a quick update on him, and presumably he's going to be in a different location again next week. Something I wanted to shout out from Cheese Forever right here, but it is actually possible to push one of the raid bosses off the map inside of Garden of Salvation, so the Consecrated Mind, Sol Inherent, can be encouraged to throw himself off the map with the use of Hunter Smoke Grenades, and I believe the boss has a few different paths that he'll take to move around the encounter, but if you get that path and you time the smoke grenade well, you can get him to fall off the map, which is pretty funny, and of course it shouts back to the old Atheon, and even Templar cheeses that we saw in D1. And so I don't think it's going to be a super reliable cheese to actually get the raid done, but it is pretty funny to see, and so I'll link Cheese Forever's video down below. Definitely check out his channel because he posts some pretty neat stuff. Now though, let's talk about some Lunar Badge secrets. There are a few rewards that we can now get a look at in the database, which aren't visible in the Lunar badge in-game. We can see the 2 darker emblems right there, have the source listed as redacted. Those are 2 potential dungeon emblems I spoke about the other day. It seems pretty much anything related to the dungeon is listed as redacted right now, so I'm pretty sure that's where they're going to come from. But we have Sybil's Dreams, which is a pretty cool looking emblem there with the Hive logo. And this one is acquired by completing all Nightmare Hunt time trials on Master Difficulty. So I'm guessing they'll be kind of like the Dreaming City, where there's kind of a hidden time limit for each of them that you need to get through. We also have Lunar Memoriam, and the source does say, among the lost ghosts of the moon. I don't believe anyone's found this yet. We're not sure whether you have to collect all of the ghosts and whether maybe there are some secret ones, or whether it's something you can get randomly if you keep farming them. But then we have the Ghost, Ship, and Sparrow, followed by 5 classified items, and presumably 3 of them are going to be the dungeon weapons that were shared by Jinsa on Twitter the other day. However, then it still leaves 2 secret classified rewards that we don't know of, and so there are clearly a few things that we've yet to discover in Shadowkeep. For a couple of quick updates to the game at the moment though, yesterday we got hotfix 2.6.03, and it did fix the issue where claiming a seasonal artifact during a locked activity could block access to the artifact, so that's no longer a problem, but they also tuned heavy ammo in the Crucible, and so the reduced heavy ammo spawns in Control, Clash, and Supremacy, and then they're going to drop another update in the near future to adjust heavy in all of the other playlists, things like Survival as well. And so they are addressing that heavy situation in PvP. Personally, I totally agree that heavy ammo has been a little bit too readily available. Bungie also dropped an update and said after further review, we have decided not to extend the eligible time frame of the emblem for the raid. And so the other day they did tweet out and said that they'd extended that 24-hour timer for the Garden of Salvation clear. That was because some of the server issues and things that we saw. They say we considered both the fact that contest mode was not enabled for the additional 2 hours and that the extension was not communicated in advance to let players know they could continue. And so essentially what happened is you had certain teams that went off because they thought they weren't going to get the 24-hour emblem anymore. And then of course Bungie extended that timer, so teams that just happened to carry on may have become eligible, and so they've essentially changed their mind on that, and if you cleared the raid in the first 24 hours, you will get that 24-hour emblem. Otherwise, they're not going to recognize any clears. Now for a final couple of content things for this season. In the database, we can now see a few emotes for Festival of the Lost, which is interesting. So there will be a Boo exotic emote. You can go around shocking the life out of Guardians with that one. There's also a Tombstone emote, which I think is going to be super disrespectful inside of PvP. And then we have the Bone Boogie, as well as the Parting emote. And as I mentioned the other day, it appears that there is a classified weapon reward for Festival this year. Pretty cool looking skin, it's definitely going to be different. And also, as we mentioned at the start of the video, Ikora is still going to be building our Vex portal during the festival this year. And then presumably we're going to get to go through that portal on the 19th of November when the Vex Final Assault launches. We've got a few ongoing live world stories in Destiny at the moment, and we've spoken a little bit about the unknown artifacts that we got from the Pyramid ship. When we first went to Eris this week, she said that the efforts of Guardians within the Black Garden seemed to have unlocked the artifact. It was just a bit of text on the vendor screen, but Eris has a series of these dialogues, like 10 of them, and they all reference the artifact, but they don't suggest that we actually have the artifact back in our possession or have used it for anything just yet. And considering the number of different dialogues that there are, in the same way that Ikora is building the Vex portal week over week, and we're slowly banishing Eris's nightmares week over week, I think when it comes to the artifact, that this actually could be the artifact for next season in the game. Feels almost a bit crazy or speculative, but with the number of interactions listed for Eris, it kind of suggests that she's still going to be talking about it pretty much every week for this season. And if you look at what Bungie said about the story here, they're ultimately going to deliver the Pyramid story over the course of the year. And so us taking an item that we got in the Shadowkeep era, unlocking it and using it in future seasons does definitely tie in with that idea. I could be completely wrong, but once again, it looks like Eris is going to have something to say about that artifact pretty much every week for the rest of the season. I mean, it is called an artifact as well, so who knows? Let me know your thoughts below. Quick shout right here, you can reclaim some armor ornaments from year 1, and that actually includes any Iron Banner ornaments, so at the moment you can reclaim them and equip them as universal ornaments to any 2.0 gear, but Cosmo did confirm that this is a bug that will be fixed in a future update, and for Iron Banner ornaments in particular, they can only be applied to the new Iron Banner set that we're going to get this season. He does say though that they're going to pass feedback that the community would like to see it stay and them be available for all armor pieces, but you can pull other ornaments that you do get to keep, so the Year 1 Vanguard and Crucible armor ornaments can be applied to any of your armor right now, which is pretty cool. I personally really like the feathers and stuff off the Crucible chest piece for the Titan from back in Year 1, so just a quick shout about that. Also, in the background right now, you've seen some gameplay of how you can glitch into the Scarlet Fortress in Patrol. So if you go from Sorrow's Harbour up to the Scarlet Keep and then follow the route that you would take in the Scarlet Keep Strike, when you get to the main Scarlet Keep section, the door is actually locked, but I saw a video from the Mad Mac, and it's really easy to get into here and patrol if you just want to go and explore. So you jump up onto these rooftops, and then you can scale over the wall and land in one of the sections of the strike on the other side of the door. So pretty cool if you wanted to look at some of the architecture and stuff. It's actually pretty neat to just check it out without enemies there, very eerie. But also for me, I think one of the coolest locations Bungie have built in D2. And while you check out some of that gameplay, PlayStation have announced that PS5 is set to launch in holiday of 2020, and that's going to be next year. So obviously generally good news if you're a PlayStation fan and you want that next gen, but it also raises significant questions for Destiny because, of course, we've just had the new light launch. Destiny's going to Stadia and all of these things, but if Destiny wants to stay relevant, it strikes me that they'll absolutely have to take advantage of that new platform as well as the current ones. And if PlayStation are launching a console, then Xbox are launching a console too, right? So it'd be really cool to see what that means for Destiny and whether we could see a Destiny 2 with 60 FPS on consoles potentially. It does, however, get ever more complicated for Bungie because they have to figure out if they can merge the player pools, if there are enough players on each of the platforms. Obviously, there'd be technical issues if one platform gets 30 and one gets 60, you probably can't put them in the same game, at least not in PvP. At the same time though, for players who want those next-gen consoles, of course, it would be fantastic for Destiny to be there with some technical improvements as well. So let us know your thoughts about that, but also be sure to share any of your thoughts about any of the stuff we've spoken about in this rather massive update video. I hope you guys are enjoying Shadowkeep and the new seasonal content. Let us know what you're working on this week in the comments section, but if you've enjoyed the video guys, a rating is very much appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to get subscribed, turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on any content, and I will keep you up to date with everything related to the game. But for now, thanks as always for tuning in, and whatever you guys get up to, I hope you have an awesome day.